Hi, and welcome back to my channel, Val the Realtor. I'm Val the Realtor, and today we're going to talk about the interesting and dynamic world of multiple offers. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and share with your friends. I'm always open to any comments and of course suggestions on topics you'd like me to cover. Just comment below and hit the subscribe button. So today we're going to talk about multiple offers. As we head into the spring market, this is going to become increasingly common. In the last 6 months, we've already seen a huge increase in multiple offer situations. Another term for that would be competing offers. So you can think of it, depending, I guess, on how you view going into it, it is a competition. You're competing for your dream home. It's not uncommon for us now to see anywhere from just 2 offers up to, I've had one listing, 39 offers. With interest rates low and inventory low, we expect it to be quite a bullish market going in, and it's now become a seller's market. Just a few days ago, we had 2,100 single-family detached properties on the market in Calgary, and in 2 days, we're down to 1,778. Normally for this time of year, we like to be at about 4,000 to have a balanced market, so we are quite low in inventory, and that's the first key ingredient that's going to create multiple offers. So let's fast forward. You are the buyer. You have found the home of your dreams. And now you want to write an offer, and your realtor has just broken it to you that so do a few other people. And it might be 3 people, it might be 5 people, it could be 10 people. And furthermore, that the seller has decided they rather like this pony show, and they're going to hold off offers for 24 hours in case more people want to write. So you have to be prepared. You have to have your game on point, because this is a one-shot deal to get that house. So how are you going to be prepared and be the most competitive in a highly competitive situation, especially in a fun spring market like we're about to go into? Actually, I guess we're already there. Number 1, get all your ducks in a row, and that first thing is your financing. I cannot stress that enough. Get your pre-approval. Get a letter saying you've been pre-approved. Get a letter saying if you're not pre-approved, your grandmother's going to buy this house in cash, but make sure that the seller knows you are 100% financeable, and that even though that financing condition is there, it's not anything to do with your ability to pay the mortgage. It's more the question of whether the lender wants to finance that amount on this particular home. That's all it's about. On that note, because we're still in a pandemic, yada, 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 the banks are taking a little bit longer, so it's not uncommon to ask for 2 weeks for that financing condition. So that leads me to point number 2. If you want to do a home inspection, I would put it in there. Not only would I put it in there, I would book it. I would be putting it in there and including in my letter that we have it booked. It's in 2 days, and we're going to waive that condition in 3 days so that they know you have already decided there's nothing wrong with the house. This is the house for you. That will also get a seller quite excited. Some people like to take out that home inspection altogether. I never recommend it, but if you're going to go in there and rip out some walls and put a new kitchen in, who cares if the toilet's leaking down the hall? That might be a $300 fix that you get the plumber to do when he's coming to redo your dishwasher and sink anyway. So you can decide if that is something that makes you comfortable and you want to remove some conditions here or there. The home inspection one is the one that is most commonly removed to make your offer the most competitive. I would avoid doing any other conditions in there that are not necessary. So subject to the sale of the buyer's home, not going to happen because they're not going to wait for you to sell your house. They're going to go with the next offer who doesn't have to sell their house. I wouldn't put any terms like subject to reviewing the RPR or the title or having your parents come approve it because they're gifting you money. That's just going to convolute the offer and they're going to go to the next one. I always recommend that you write a little note, a personal letter, if you will, on how much you love their home, the things you liked about their home. I had one client actually comment when we were in the basement. We noticed that they had had 4 boys and they had marked off their growth every year on this one piece of 2x4 that was in the unfinished part of their basement. And we had stood around and commented on it to the point that we knew there was 4 boys. We knew the years they were born. We knew their heights. And so my clients in their letter to the seller commented on how, because they had 3 boys, they actually commented on how they wanted to do the same thing with their boys on the other side of that particular 2x4, but that if it was special to the seller and they wanted them to cut out that 2x4 and put a new one in, they were absolutely willing to give up that little piece of lumber to the seller so they would have that memento of their 4 boys growing up there. Needless to say, my folks got that house, so I'm very excited. And then the other big thing that people talk about is the money. Show me the money, honey. The sellers are sitting there and they want to see the top dollar. I don't think the dollars get it every single time, but I will tell you, when I'm on the seller side of that equation, the sellers are definitely looking for the most amount of money. In the last 6 months, because lenders have been somewhat up and down and taking so long for financing, I have actually seen quite a few offers where it did not go to the highest price. So if somebody offered lower, but they removed the financing condition, then they would take that over the higher offer with the financing condition in. I had one of those last August. I was shocked. My clients offered $8,000 more than the offer that actually won out, because they included financing, and the offer that was selected did not have financing in it. Sometimes sellers don't want to wait. They just want to know it's done. So although top dollar does win, it doesn't win every single time. So in addition to money, the other big key deciding factor in an offer is the possession date. I've also had an offer situation where we were a finalist. It came down to 2 offers because we had a similar possession date, and I happened to know that the sellers were having a home built and it wasn't going to be ready for another 4 months. So whereas most people are looking for 30 to 60 days in possession, my folks were willing to keep renting and give them the 4 months. So there was another offer that we were competing with that had also done that, and in the end they went with the other offer. But possession date does sometimes play a factor. Usually it's the opposite. People want their money quick and fast, and so they want a quick close. If the home is vacant, it comes on the market, especially if it's, for example, an estate sale, or it's been a revenue property, they've cleaned it up, it's vacant, and they've priced it attractively because they don't want it to sit, then if you can give them a 15-day close, which you could if you did your pre-approvals, then you will be a very attractive offer for the seller. Now on the seller side, because I do have to speak a little bit about the seller side, it helps buyers understand what is happening in the competing offers. So on the seller side, the realtor has to receive all the offers that they know are coming in and present all offers. So as soon as we get notification that a realtor is writing, and then we get notification that a second realtor is writing, it's protocol for us to go back to the first realtor and let them know the name and the brokerage of the second realtor that's writing. So everything is completely transparent. If you're going into a multiple offer situation, one thing I would highly recommend is talking to your realtor to find out how many offers are coming in and who is representing those buyers, just so that you know for sure there's offers. It's not just some kind of spook to get you to write a higher amount or close quicker or give up conditions that you should have for your protection, but it also gives you an idea of what you're up against. I always love to know who I'm competing against because I know enough of the realtors in this city to know what their little tricks are, and so I like to kind of have a competitive edge around that. Back to the seller side though. So the realtor will notify everybody that's representing a buyer that we're in a competitive situation. They will give us a deadline to get the offers in, and we need to respect those deadlines or there's a chance your offer won't be presented. So that's number one. Once the selling agent receives all the offers, they have to present them all, and usually what they do, some will have a method of presenting them. I presented them first received to the last received. I don't put them in order of price point. I don't want it all to sway them in any way. So as I receive them is how I'm going to present them. Every realtor can present them differently, but we do have to present all offers. Because there's a lot of paperwork involved, what we generally do is we then will notify the person who is the successful winner of the offer to purchase. Then we will let all the other people know if they didn't win. On occasion, I have been on the seller side where we can't decide because we have 2 identical offers, or we have 2 offers that are, one is a great price but a terrible possession or a million conditions, and the other one's maybe a lower price but it was maybe a cash deal. And sometimes we will go back to a buyer and say, hey, my sellers want to work with your offer, but they want to counter it because there's a couple of things that they need to change in order to be able to work with that offer. That's not uncommon. Don't be insulted, and it doesn't always mean that they're fishing for more money. It's just that they're trying to get everything that they want to make sure that their home is transferring to the next buyer properly, as well as they're meeting up with whatever their financial or investment goals are for their next property. So it does happen, But for the most part, when you write that offer, it's a one-shot deal. If it doesn't work for them, it will just be eliminated from the pile. So I don't think you should be shy, nervous, or afraid to compete. I mean, there's a lot more emotionally involved. I know you want the house and you're so upset somebody else wants the house, but guess what? It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to go after it. And I do get some buyers that are scared. As soon as they hear they're competing, they're already throwing up the white flag, their hat's down in the ring, they're not competing. And I don't think that that's the way it should go, because I've been through multiple offer situations so many times now that I know you can't buy your dream home unless you try. And if you do lose, then it wasn't meant to be, and know that the next property that comes up, you're going to be that much wiser to write an offer that's going to be really tight and work for that seller. So never be afraid to compete. It's not a big deal if you lose. It's what's meant to be, and something else will come up. What do I do while I'm waiting? I tell people to occupy themselves, because it's going to drive them crazy, especially if there's 10 or more offers on the table. It could be a couple hours before we hear back. But I will tell you this, keep your cell phone on. Do not go to the movie theaters or go on a hike where there's no cell signal. I've had both of that happen with clients that I was trying to negotiate the offer with and trying to tell them they got the house, and I couldn't get a hold of them. Do something to distract yourself, but don't turn off your phone and don't go out of a cell phone range. Because if I need to get a hold of you, if we need to initial a change, you better be there before the sellers change their mind and go on to the next offer. So the moral of the story is, when you do lose a property, and sometimes it does happen, don't take it personally, don't worry about it, and know that the next house that comes up with the same criteria in the same community that you're dying to buy, there's going to be one less buyer competing for it. So that's my last little bit of optimism and tips for you going into this really crazy bullish market. If you have any other comments, if you want to have any topics covered, talk about the acreage market, condominiums, we could go on and on and on about condominiums, whatever you would like to know about Calgary, living in Cochrane, living in Airdrie, just hit the comment below, tell me your ideas, and I'm happy to tackle your subjects. There's other videos here, I hope you'll take some time to look at them. Subscribe, and we'll see you next week.